I didn't know I had a daughter until she was 16 years old. But there she stood on my doorstep, and I looked her up and down, and I noticed the old family resemblance. So I shrugged my shoulders and I said, okay, call me Dad. And she walked in and destroyed my life. How she got there is another story for another time, but good kid, Esther is her name, Esther. She had, first 6 months, they went swimmingly. She struggled in school just to get C's, but she always kept at it, and I think we bonded a lot over homework. I would help her with, with her math, I'd help her with her English, I'd help her with her Spanish, and she had this funny laugh whenever she got nervous. She'd go, and then I would laugh at her, and then she would laugh at me, laughing at her, and then I would laugh at her, laughing at me, and da-da-da-da, and we'd just be laughing together. Like I said, she tried really hard those first 6 months. She smiled a lot, she tried to make friends, a couple were a little sketchy, but that's teenagers for you. But then after 6 months, I started to see cracks in the facade. First came the blinking, right? She has anxiety, that's what they call it nowadays. Back then they just called it a condition. But she would start with the blinking, and then after a little while came the tapping. She'd always have a pen in her hand, she'd be tapping a palm, and then she'd be tapping the table, and then she'd be tapping her feet, and then she'd make these wild tattoos on the dinner table whenever she got nervous, like she was drumming. And then after that came the breathing. Like she was hyperventilating. And it got so bad, it started to infect her sleep. I would stand there at her bedroom door at night, just in awe of this. Like there's this demon perched on her chest, asphyxiating her in her sleep, smothering her dreams. And one night I just became so overwhelmed with concern. I went into a room and I took her by the shoulder and I shook her awake. And I said, Esther, breathe with me. In through the nose for 4. Out through the mouth for 8. And we did that for 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. Until finally, she just drifted off to sleep. Dreamlessly. And it always worked for me. I played a little farm league ball when I was a lot younger, and my coach, he gave me that technique before I ever got up to bat, and it always relaxed me and cleared my mind. And Esther took to it like a duck to water. Well, more like a herd of dolphins, really, to the beautiful blue Mediterranean, because she changed overnight. It's shocking to say that, but really, all of a sudden her grades just skyrocketed into the stratosphere. Straight A's. I can still see her at her desk, punching numbers in a calculator, flipping books in a dictionary, using reference material without my help. Her focus was that good. The next thing that came, or I should say went, were the clothes. She just got rid of all of them, except for a pair of chinos and short sleeve shirt with a collar, which she buttoned all the way up to the top. I thought she was turning into a Mormon. I expected her to get one of those little name tags and start handing out pamphlets on the subway. But no, she was just stripping down. She's making her life very sparse, and so she didn't have to concentrate on too much. And the next thing came the cleaning. Okay, I'm a messy guy. I get up in the morning, and my bed's unmade. There's clothes on the floor. There's dishes in the sink, and I go to work. I come back. The house is as neat as a pin, like it never happened. Okay? You can eat off the floor, and then there's the eating. Okay, the cooking. That's what came next. Every night when I come home from work, she's got a pot of rice and lentils bubbling on the stove, along with a couple of vegetable dishes on the side. And each night it's a different recipe. Okay, different rices, different spices. The house is fragrant. And I'm like, wow, I gained a daughter, I gained a chef. This is awesome. And this is really interesting to me. So I start talking with her more and more, and we start walking in the park for hours at a time. And she takes my arm, and she's just chattering endlessly about stuff that I don't know anything about. I'm a nuts and bolts guy, okay? I don't know anything about this stuff, but she's talking about God, she's talking about the universe, and Atman and terms I'd like never heard before. This is all pre-internet. I don't know where she's getting this stuff from, but she's just radiating love in every direction. And the flowers and the lampposts and strangers and the clouds and me. And I'm beginning to feel something that I only heard about in movies and storybooks. This bottomless, irrefutable love for my daughter. And throughout all of it, she's just, no matter what she's doing, whether she's studying or she's cleaning or she's cooking or she's walking with me, every spare second that she has, she just drops to the ground and just starts to breathe. And one night, I'm sitting at the dinner table with her. She's standing, she's serving me some soup. The usual vegetarian fare, some Indian dishes, some Indian fare on the table. And she says, Father, ever since she started with the breathing, she starts calling me Father. No more Dad, it's just Father. She says, Father, I want to move to an ashram in Colorado. And I say, great, pass the curry. And she says, Father, I want to move to an ashram in Colorado. And a little light goes on in my head, and I say, what, you mean like after dinner? And I say, oh, well, listen, Esther, that's nice, but look, you're not even 18, you're not out of high school yet, you barely started your senior year. I don't want to sound harsh, but no, you can't. Sorry. She puts down the ladle, she puts down the soup, and stands there with her arms crossed, looking at me. Well, looking through me, really, at a point on the wall behind me. She doesn't say anything. And I say, Esther, look, what do you want from me? You can't go, you're just too young. Nothing. And we were like that for about 2 minutes. She just doesn't say anything. And I don't say anything, and there's nothing to say. So I just try to ignore it, and I start eating, but she just keeps standing there, silent. And after a while, I think, okay, I'm not going to get dragged into this drama. I push my chair away, and I walk out, and I get a burger somewhere. I didn't feel like vegetarian fare at the moment, you know what I mean? I come back, it's around 11 o'clock. She hasn't moved. She's still standing, with her arms crossed, fixated on that same point on the wall. I say, Esther, this silent treatment isn't going to work. Come on, go to bed. Nothing. I say, all right, look, I'm not going to play this game with you. I'm going to go to bed. So I walk upstairs, take a shower, get into bed, crack a book. Come 3 o'clock in the morning, I haven't slept a wink, and I'm just staring at the wall. On a hunch, I go downstairs, and there Esther is standing in the dark with her arms crossed. She hasn't moved a millimeter, staring at that same spot on the wall. And I'm not a little afraid of what I'm looking at. Not because she's acting in a way I don't know how to respond to, but because I see her as this natural force. Some energy swirling all around us. I can't name it. I don't recognize it. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what I'm witnessing. So I say, Esther, I just revert to my normal human, gotta do this, right? Esther, you've got to go to bed. Go to bed. You have to go to bed. I'm the father. Do what I tell you to do. Go to bed now. Nothing. And I weaken. I feel myself weaken. And I just try a different tack. I say, Esther, have I hurt you somehow? No, Father. Aha, she's talking. I'm getting in there somehow. I say, are you angry at me for my absence for all those years? No, Father. Then what are you doing? You simply cannot do this. You cannot walk into my life, upend it on its ass, and just leave. And I do something very foolish. I reach out, I take her by the sleeve, and I try to drag her to the stairs to go up to bed. And she just braces herself and she doesn't move. So I let go. I shrug and I go back upstairs. And come, 7 o'clock when my alarm goes off, I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to go back downstairs. So I said, all right, well, this is it. This is it. It's either now or never. She just has to do what I tell her to do. So I get dressed in my best power suit. I put on my Rolex, put on my best shoes. I get my most expensive briefcase. I'm armed for bear. And I actually, believe it or not, from where I work, I have a number of a private security guard who is legally allowed to physically pick you up and move you. And if that's what it takes to get her to school and put her ass in a chair, then that's what it's going to take. So I go downstairs. Esther has not moved an inch. Her knees are trembling from the effort to stand up. She has not moved. And it all just flies out of my mind. Everything that I was planning on doing just 2 minutes ago just all flies out of my mind. And I realized I couldn't tell her to stay because she'd already left. My baby. She'd already gone. So I said, all right, Esther, you can go. You can go. You can go. You can go. Just, when you get to the ashram, you have to, no, you don't have to do anything. Just go. Just go. Just go. And I started walking towards the door saying, just go. Just go. It's okay. Just go. Just be safe. Just go. Just go. And I must have blacked out or something because I don't remember anything else for the rest of the day. All I remember is coming back from work, turning my key in the lock, opening the door, and not a shred of evidence had been left behind to mark Esther's passage. Not a hair in the sink, not a ripple in the mattress, nothing. Except she left a pot of rice and lentils in the refrigerator with the recipe taped to it and the phone number for the ashram. And I called her. I did, every week, just to make sure it wasn't some kind of cult. I'd seen some documentary about cults before. They don't let the kids come to the phone and talk to the parents. But no, she always came to the phone. She talked as long as I wanted to. She had like 2 subjects that she ever talked about. The grounds are beautiful, and I'm learning so much, Father. I'm learning so much here. I even got a chance to talk to the Abbey. And it was it's an all girls, it's an all female ashram out there. And she said, your daughter is a most extraordinary teacher, Mr. Green. We're learning so much from her. And that made me feel good for about half a minute. But I miss her terribly. It's like there's a giant hole right here. I can't explain it any better. And here's another thing I can't really explain any better. I hate to sound all new age and shit, but I believe that Esther was some kind of radical agent sent by the universe to destroy my life. And she did. Damn good thing she did, because my life wasn't very much to destroy to begin with. Up until she appeared at my door, it consisted of going to work, coming home, fixing a drink, and falling asleep in front of the tube. Now, and it took a lot to do this, I actually get out of the house. And I talk to everybody who I can about her. I come to places like this. And I started cooking. I started using her recipe. I make different rice and lentil dishes. And I started breathing again. I picked up the breathing method again. So nowadays, every time I lift the lid and I inhale the scent of jasmine rice cooking, I'm reminded each time that the universe is not, contrary to my popular belief, an empty vacuum with nameless mathematical calculations and faceless chemical equations. Quite the contrary, it's brimming over with understanding and with love.